Hey guys, okay, I've been talking a lot about creative freedom, and I think the term creative freedom and authenticity go hand in hand. And, I've been thinking about how for a span of many, many years, I've been transitioning from being this influencer or persona to being creatively free, or to being just authentically myself, to just being myself. And I've been thinking about how much of a painful and difficult journey this has been. So while I cook my dinner behind me here, I want to chat about why this shift is so painful, but why I think it is well worth it. Okay, so, and by the way, I'm going to be doing chicken, rice, and broccoli probably. This is a very common meal for me. So, I'm going to kind of ground this story, or I'm going to ground this, what I'm about to say, in my own experience. But, I would suggest try to pick out the universal principles. And even if you're not a creator, there's something universal in this. So, looking at my past, right? And it's always hard for me to kind of multitask because I get so into the talk. I made one of these on Instagram, and I forgot to turn the stove on the entire time. Okay, so, it's always funny for me to tell my story because I started creatively free already. Thinking about my creator journey, which I consider to have started at 10 years old when I started this YouTube channel, I was creatively free. I was a kid just expressing my joy, sharing all of my different interests, and I wasn't thinking twice about strategy or niching or anything like that. In fact, at that time, I don't think anyone was, because YouTube was 2 years old. I think we were all just having fun and expressing ourselves. But, I remember distinctly, I would make a lot of skate videos in my basement, but I wasn't afraid to, make a random skit or solve the Rubik's Cube on camera. Or I remember a video I made making a fake turd in my bathroom. That was fun. I remember I made a tutorial on how to beep out censor words in like Windows Movie Maker or iMovie or something. I was doing all sorts of stuff on my channel as a kid. And, as I grew up, some part of my brain took over, and I started to think and strategize and, okay, what are we going to do? And, over time, it took a long time to really fully go into this hole or trap. But eventually I considered my channel to be a skateboarding channel. And every skate video doing really well, making me a lot of money, all of this. So in a way I succeeded in this way, okay? And the business model behind that is, it was the influencer business model. So I'm getting a lot of views on every post. Therefore, I can get paid by brands to do a sponsorship. I can sell merch. I'm getting a lot of ad revenue. That's the influencer business model. The problem with the influencer business model, if you make the mistake that I made, is I basically over time crafted this persona, this skater that I thought I had to be on social media in order to get those views. And that very much was my effort. My effort was, okay, what do I got to do to get views? A lot of the conversations with my fellow creator friends that's what we were talking about. How do we get views? What do we got to do to get views? And, oh, you got to talk like this with this kind of energy, and you got to edit really fast and cut like this and make sure the watch time is high and all this stuff, right? So it's like it starts as strategy, but it becomes like, for me, and maybe for you if you relate to this, it became this mask. And for me, this is a deep problem, because at the time I didn't separate my identity from it. Like, this skate channel was not a project that I was doing. Like, I thought it was me. It's not like I'm over here living my life and then here's this isolated skate channel as a project. No, it's like I am this persona. So for every video where I'm like expressing my creativity, I'm majorly calculating what I have to do. You see how this cooking is like, what am I doing? Shaking the rice around. Okay, so I'm sure for many creators this is very relatable, and I'm sure it's also going to be relatable when I say that over time this starts to be impossible. It starts to be impossible for a multitude of reasons, right? You want to create things outside of your niche. You start to get disinterested in your niche. You start to feel like you're in a box. You lose your enthusiasm for the thing that you boxed yourself into. This is a perfectly natural situation. It's so human to have changing and evolving interests and to be multi-passionate. You know, we are multifaceted beings. I don't think there's anyone out there who's just interested in one thing. Okay, now a quick caveat before I get to the transition from persona to just being yourself part. You know how I mentioned like, oh, it wasn't a project. I think that could actually be a good way to do it. Like, if you want to start a skate influencer business and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this project. This is going to be my project. That's fine. And you create a skate influencer persona and you build an audience and you sell them a skate course. Perfectly fine. But the problem is, I was using self-expression on social media as like a self-actualization tool. Like, I wanted to express my heart, basically. And when I felt like I couldn't do that, it was very painful. And it became so painful that this basically started the process of me breaking free, not only from this persona and this mask, but also this business model. Okay, and I want to talk about why this transition is so painful. Okay, I got the rice going. This can go in the drying rack. Let me get the veggies out. So why is it so painful? And again, this is not just for creators. This is for anyone who's learned to wear a mask in life and, you know, learned that they have to be someone else in life in order to be loved and approved. It's kind of a universal thing that a lot of us struggle with. But so when you've been wearing a mask for a while, or you've been being a persona, you know, and let me ground this. I'll continue to just talk about creators. Like, let's say you've put up this persona, you've strategized, you've done all the right things in the algorithm, you've built an audience. Now you've got this audience who loves you, except the problem is they don't love you. They love the persona that you've been portraying. So this is one reason it's painful to take the mask off and begin expressing yourself authentically online, is because your audience doesn't even know you. They know a version of you that you've been presenting because you thought you had to in order to get them to subscribe to you. Do you see how this is related to people pleasing? Right, so let's say you've been this influencer persona for 5 to 10 years. And all these people love you and they think that's you. And and you thought that was you for a while, but now you're like realizing that you've been performing, and now you want to just be yourself, and you start being yourself. There's no way to tell if a given member of your audience is going to resonate with the you behind that mask or behind that persona. We just don't know, because it's two different people. There's the influencer persona you've been presenting, and we know that your audience likes that. But then there's the you that's been behind the mask, and we don't know if your audience is going to like that. Okay, so this is a very brave process to go on, to start to change your way in this way. And it's very brave and very vulnerable, because when you're putting up this mask, you're not actually even being seen. It's this like external thing that's being seen. So your vulnerable self is protected. But when you start being like, no, this is really what I think. This is what's going on, then you're actually subjecting your real self in a way to being seen. And then because of what I just said, who's to say if your audience is going to like what's behind the mask? It's very possible that you're going to experience some rejection that really cuts to the core. You're so used to the views and the followers, and now all of a sudden, who is this guy? This is not who I subscribe to. So again, it's a natural situation. When I say this, I don't mean to create an us versus them with the audience. It's literally a natural situation. If I've been presenting this persona, and now all of a sudden I'm saying, hey guys, actually I'm interested in all this stuff. It's a natural situation that there's going to be a purge, okay? It's very, very likely that if you undergo this transition, if you're ready to be more yourself online or in life, that's the big metaphor here, it's very, very likely that there's going to be a big purge again, because people have been relating to your mask, not to you. So when you suddenly show who you are, the people who are relating to your mask might not resonate with you. Okay, so there might be unfollowers, outlandish responses in the comments, whatever it is. You might even lose friends. Family might even be like confused, friends and family. So there can be a big, big, big purge, and this can be very scary. And this can feel very, very isolating, because it's quite literally I think it's one of the most massive transformations you can go on. And, when you've come from a place on relying on that external validation from the audience, the likes, the views, all that stuff, and you like that stuff and it makes you feel good, to suddenly start, turning people away, and your view count cuts into a tenth of what it was or less. People leave comments that make you question if you're crazy. That's tough. Okay, so one of the main things that I want to express in this video is just be prepared for that, because that purge, logically speaking, is very, very likely to happen. And I'm just drying off this broccoli. Unfortunately, I need to wash a pan. So be prepared for that purge to happen. And I'm going to wash this pan, and then I'm going to tell you why I think it's worth it, even though that purge, which is going to be painful, is inevitable. Do you guys wash the back of your dishes? I've always washed the entire thing, and one time I had a friend who saw me doing that, and he was like, "You wash the back of your dishes? I don't do that." Thought that was funny. Okay, look, so if you undergo this transition that I'm talking about, there's going to be a purge of people. There also might be a purge of money. You might lose your income sources, because if you are relying on views and your audience loses interest, you might lose your views. You might lose your income. So this could be a very, very difficult process that takes a very long time, and you're going to have to figure out logistics, like how you're going to make money. This is something that I've been dealing with. Okay, but why is it worth it? Is you're literally walking through a portal into a completely different way of creating and a completely different way of life. So the portal that you're walking through is you're walking through a portal into the ability to create from literally an endless fountain of energy, where you don't have to worry about views, like at all. You don't have to worry about subscribers. You don't have to worry about metrics. You can just create with total freedom because you're just being yourself. So basically, when you feel creatively fired up, I know you probably get that feeling often, but you might be used to kind of, once you get that idea, you might be used to then, shifting into planning and strategizing and all that and doubting yourself. But once you step through this portal, you get that idea, you hop on the camera and you create it, or you hop on the notepad and you write it, whatever your art form is, you just express your truth in the moment. You don't have to worry about schedules. I mean, you could do a schedule if you want, but you can turn off that analytical brain. And you know how I described my kid self just creating whatever I wanted to? You could go back to that. Now, a difficult part of this transition is that the influencer business model crumbles because, maybe you're going to be able to pull the same views that you did, but I think it's probably unlikely. I think you're probably going to have to figure out a different business model, and this is something that I'm personally in the process of, but in the meanwhile, I had to pick up a side hustle. So, you got to figure shit out, but we're adults. Come on, we could do it. So you're just then being yourself. So no mask, just being yourself. There's going to be this purge, but as this purge is happening, you're going to start to attract and connect with people who they love you, not this performance. They love you. Do you feel the weight of that? So you're able to just create from this endless fountain of energy because you're just being yourself, and you're attracting people with no effort. I mean, you're literally doing the creating, but you love it. Like, you love it. It gives you energy. It doesn't drain your energy. So burnout is gone. And you're able to start to build a new foundation. Do you see how the old foundation was shaky and it was bound to crumble at any moment? Now you're building something, and it might take time. Now you're building something that is impenetrable. Okay, and it's not going to be smooth sailing all the time. I've been on this journey, and it's had ups and downs for sure. And this is a this is a brave way to go. This is like a warrior way to go. You know what I mean? But you're building this impenetrable foundation. And as you build an audience from this place, again, just feel the weight of this audience is not connecting to any performance that you're giving. They're fully connecting to your authentic expression and your authentic message. So you're going to attract aligned people, aligned opportunities. This could be clients, right? There's going to be a way to shift out of relying on views because you start an aligned business. If we look at the metaphor of demasking in real life and just being authentic, your authentic self, you're going to start to repel opportunities that are not meant for you. And that's going to create a lot of space for opportunities that are meant for you. You're going to get into some things in your actual life, not just your creator life, although your creative expression online can very much lead to real life opportunities. I mean, sometimes sometimes we forget that the internet is just people, guys. We act like it's this like thing that's separate from the world, but when you post a piece of content, the reason it's a significant thing is because human beings are seeing it. It's like the most significant thing there is. The internet is just people. So very real aligned opportunities can happen when you're being yourself on the internet. And isn't that cool? Then you actually get to enjoy all of these opportunities that you're attracting by creating content. Meanwhile, in the past, in the old way, this persona version of you that took a lot of energy to keep up, that person was getting all the benefit. You weren't even getting any of it. It's so interesting. I'm losing my breath a little. I just had like a cold and I've been really liking these nose strips and I'm not wearing one right now. Can barely breathe out of my nose. So look guys, and I'll be straightforward with you, I'm not all the way there. I'm absolutely grinding my badonk off on my side hustle. And I think what my aligned business looks like is creative freedom coaching. Because like this expression I'm sharing right now, it's just pouring out of me. Like there needs to be no plan. I literally put my phone up while making dinner. So, and when I get on one-on-one calls with people, which I've been doing, I can just be and speak my truth. And like, I know how to help people because I've been there. So this feels like where I'm going, but I do want to be fully transparent that basically I'm encouraging you to take an extremely scary leap with many, many perils along the way. I'm telling you to leave the comfort and safety of wearing a mask. And I'm telling you to take it off and be yourself and face all there's going to be a lot of shit, that happens. I'm telling you to take that journey, and I haven't even quote unquote made it to the other side. Although I guess why I feel the confidence to suggest this, and there's a really lovely winter sunset out the window now. I think why I feel the confidence to suggest this is because, as I've been, clawing this mask off my face, I've just caught glimpses of such beauty. I've made such beautiful connections. I've had such moments of bliss, of just like, oh my God, I can just be myself. Like, it doesn't have to be this effort. Like, I've had such beautiful moments that I know I know that it's worth it. And I'm personally going to do everything I can to keep going. Part of that for me, what's going to keep me accountable to that is stepping into coaching other people to do it. I'm like putting this, responsibility on myself. Like, okay, yeah, if I'm going to teach other people to do it, I got to set the example. So if I had a strong tug at my heart to record this video, I got to do it. I'm self-conscious about my breathing, that I'm talking too slowly, whatever. I have a responsibility to push through that because I know that other creators, other people who are still stuck in that, it's painful to wear a mask too. I think that's the other thing. Wow, beautiful light on the trees over there. Maybe I could show you guys. Look at that. Do you see that? That one that's still catching the sun over there? That's another, logically speaking, why is it worth it? Because yes, there's going to be a lot of acute growing pains when you make this transition, as you make this transition. But that acute pain is worth it compared to the long, never-ending, dull pain of constantly being this persona or wearing this mask. Something I personally struggle with on this journey is shame. Like, I'll make really good progress and really good strides, and then I call it a shame attack. I have a shame attack, and then I'm like, oh no, like, I'm embarrassing myself. People think I'm crazy. All these people leaving judgmental comments, they're right about me. And then, it's happened to me multiple times that I like break free on all my channels. And then a few months later, I get consumed by shame and fear. And I like unlist everything and I go back to the skater persona. So I'm susceptible to that. I'm not going to promise that's never going to happen to me again, but I'm going to do everything I can. I do feel like I have some good anchors in place now, like sobriety, daily meditation. I have 2 really good mentors. My Patreon community like saved my butt the other day when I started to have a shame attack and like almost started unlisting everything. So, I'm sharing this to let you know that, you see me doing this. I didn't just magically get here. Like I'm pushing through a lot of stuff, a lot of my, demons that want me to keep hiding and want me to keep holding back. And a lot of reason I'm doing this is for you, because I want you to feel the lightness and the ease and the beauty that comes from just being yourself online and in your waking life. I mean, in your quote unquote real life. But again, the internet is people. It is also your real life. And if you do this kind of self-expression work on social media, which for me, like as a, shyer, more reserved person, and I consider myself to have been largely wearing a mask, not only on the internet, but also in my real life. For some reason, social media naturally felt like the place to practice doing this work of opening and being more vulnerable and sharing my truth and really going after my desires and all of this. And it has been and always will be a tremendous training ground. Social media has been a tremendous place for me to practice being myself. And as I do it more and more on the internet, I actually get more confident to do it in my real life as well. So I see this journey as widespread beneficial for your entire life. Like, it's gonna it's going to touch multiple different aspects of your life because it's all connected. So this creative freedom, creative healing journey really is a holistic journey of healing and coming to accept oneself and learning to express oneself. I forgot to turn a timer on, but that's funny. I forgot to turn a timer on the chicken, but I could see the video's been going for 30 minutes, and I think I popped it in pretty soon after I started recording. So let me add 10 because usually it takes 40 in this oven. So I think I may have gotten everything I needed to off of my chest. I'm still going to keep cooking and I might just hang out, or maybe I'll cut and then show you the meal when it's done. But, I'm building my coaching business. So if this really resonated and you want one-on-one support, I'm offering one-off sessions and a longer coaching program. Both of the information is in the description. I think that coaching model feels pretty good for now. I'm curious about, I have a lot of ideas like, should I do a group thing? Should I do coaching that's not just creative freedom, but that's more holistic? Because I have so much about life that I want to share. And one thing that I've learned is that one of the best ways to continue growing in life is to start teaching what you know. As you teach, all of a sudden you start learning more and more and more and growing more. So it's super interesting. But yeah, let me know how your journey's going in the comments. If this really resonated and you want to book a coaching call, that info is in the description. And I'm like out of breath. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it here. I'm like, do I want to keep going until my dinner's done? No, but I think I'm feeling the natural end. So love you guys. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.